U.S. Open, exciting stuff over the weekend. And Gary Woodland, a guy that had never won a major. In fact, they had the stat during the coverage 7 different times in his PGA Tour career. Now, had won 4 times, now 5. But 7 different times in his career, he had been in the final grouping on a Sunday, and he had never, ever closed it out with a win. Until yesterday, did it on the biggest of stages. Mr. Golf, Ray Hustek, joins us. Ray, I got to tell you, I texted Joel on Saturday about midway through the round, and I said, I just have a feeling that Brooks Koepka is going to do this again, because I didn't like how Justin Rose was hitting it all over the place, even though he was putting well, and I just didn't trust Gary Woodland. But boy, was I wrong. He was very solid, very impressive yesterday, how he kept his composure, and he was really the most solid guy down the stretch, wasn't he?
The way he handled himself as he got to the back 9 and out on number 14. He came to a spot on a par 5 where you just needed to lay up and maintain that little lead that he had. But he went for it in 2 and brought a whole lot of really horrible possible numbers into play, but managed to get himself up and down for birdie, and that was really what solidified the win. So I'm thinking, oh, man, here's a big mistake, and Koepka's going to get his 3rd straight U.S. Open. But amazing shot by Woodland, and it was something that you say, no,
Mm-hmm.
Great shot.
Yeah. 17 also. He has on that funky green. He's looks like it's a terrible tee shot, and Koepka's playing 18. You think maybe he's going to at least birdie 18 and cut it to 1, and then you're looking at a possible bogey with Woodland, but a great chip shot up there, and he makes par. He just he had all the shots.
He really did, and you said something that I think is really important. We watch a guy like this who's had so many chances and wasn't able to close the door, and then yesterday with Brooks Koepka, who's the guy that's been the just unbelievable machine, and he's playing next to Justin Rose, who was playing pretty well. And you think, okay, there's a point where this guy's going to crumble. He's been in position before, and he knows how to lose, but we've never seen him win it. And playing on a great golf course that, by the way, I have to give kudos to the USGA for not screwing up the Pebble Beach Golf Club. But, it was something to really watch. And it was fun to see all these guys kind of take their shots. Dustin Johnson really wasn't able to get it together like we thought he would. McIlroy had a few chances but did his typical little disappearing act. Tiger played his last 10 holes, 5 under par. He was on fire late, but it was too little too late. He was like 10 shots back before he started the run. And the crowd got a big kick out of watching Tiger, and it's amazing how much positive energy he gets everywhere he goes. I think he is much more popular today than ever.
Mr. Golf, Ray Hustek joining us, talking U.S. Open, won by Gary Woodland, his first major championship. You mentioned the USGA and the course setup at Pebble Beach. You see him win with a 13 under score. Typically, Tiger finished 2 under par. Typically at a U.S. Open, that's a winning type of score, but he finished tied for 21st. Would you rather have it the way we saw it this weekend, the course setups, or do you miss the grinding and trying to win it by making a whole bunch of pars and maybe a birdie or 2 and staying out of major trouble and winning it with a -2, -1? Last year, Brooks Koepka won at +1. Which do you prefer?
I prefer watching great golf, and I love these guys there were still plenty of times for these guys to have to struggle for par. That's okay with me. I don't care if the final winning score. They're playing a golf course again like they were at Muirfield Village with no wind. There's just not a lot of defense out there. And the greens were fast and firm, and those are really small greens. They weren't overly fast. I mean, they weren't losing the grass and everything dying on them like the USGA typically does on Sunday afternoon. And without any wind, they could fit it into those little tighter fairways than are usual. So to me, we still got to see the players work really hard to make their pars. We still got to see these guys struggle if they hit it offline. I mean, there were some, Tiger had a couple doubles yesterday, who was it? Rory that had 2 doubles yesterday in his round. I mean, so, these guys still working hard, but if you play well on a golf course where there's no wind, why not shoot a score that's a few shots under par? That's not a bad thing.
Even though he didn't win, Brooks Koepka, you used the word machine a little bit ago, but he's been first or second in every major this year. Obviously, 1 win, 2 seconds. 6 of the last 9 majors, he's been first or second. He hasn't finished lower than 35th in a major during that period of time. Best golfer in the world right now, Ray?
Absolutely. And, oh, by the way, he's won 4 of them.
Yes.
I mean, it's nice to have all those seconds and close ones and close calls, but he's got 4 trophies in the last 9 major championships. Those are Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus and Bobby Jones type numbers. And it's amazing to watch him because early in the round, he goes out birdies for the first 5. I'm like, well, this is over. I might as well just turn the television off because we know who's going to win. But a couple errant tee shots on the back 9, they were pretty unusual for him. But again, in golf, you don't get to block the other guy's shot. You can't affect what somebody else is doing. And as hard as Koepka tried to put pressure on, Gary Woodland did not crack. And this is a guy who, in high school had his throat crushed during a basketball game, and he had a broken thumb and played with that. I mean, he is a tough competitor and played a lot of different sports growing up, and all those things. I think you kind of pull on those things mentally when you're playing in a major golf championship.
If you look at the past U.S. Open champions, Ray, and Gary Woodland, 35 years old, a veteran who's played a long time, he finally breaks through. Now, there are young names that are in there. And Brooks Koepka's, still young. He's in his 20s. But it's usually guys that have been around for a while, and they break through. You don't, I know Jordan Spieth was young, but he'd already won a major at that point. Is there something about the U.S. Open where it takes that veteran presence and maybe, for a guy like a Gary Woodland who's 35, we shouldn't be surprised that somebody at a U.S. Open that's been around for a while and hasn't broken through, that this is the tournament they break through at?
Yeah, and I think it's something that every tournament is so different, Matt, as you and I have watched over the years, and you see the makeup of the leaderboard, and we're always going, okay, where are the veterans when we come into the last 9 on Sunday or even the start of the final round? Where are the veterans? Where's the lead really sit? Is this guy who's never won anything, who's got a 2-shot lead going into Sunday? We almost discount him, and we say, well, the lead's really the guy who's sitting in second place who's won a bunch of tournaments. But you look at the top 10 yesterday, it's a great mix. Lou Oosthuizen, Adam Scott, Henrik Stenson, Justin Rose, all guys that are, people who are tried and true veterans who've won big championships. And then you throw in, John Rahm and Ches Reavie, who are, young guys. Xander Schauffele, who's had some great experiences, but he's incredibly young. And it was a fantastic mix of players yesterday from the veterans. The U.S. Open is a hard one to win, probably harder than any, just mentally. I mean, Jack Nicklaus talked about how that was the most difficult golf tournament ever to win because of the incredible pressure that you put on yourself and the razor-thin margin for error that's available out to you on a USGA type setup. So I think to see a guy break through and win, again, depending on the mix, depending on the golf course, depending on a particular set of circumstances, I think is what makes this game so fascinating.
Real quick, Ray, Fox's coverage. Are you a fan or do you not like it?
I love Azinger and Curtis Strange and what they've done on the golf course and off the course as well, and different things. But let's get some other golf people in there. Joe Buck is a great baseball announcer.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I also wish we'd see more golfers. I do get that the last 2 groups was the story, but they spend so much time between shots. I'd rather get to see, Adam Scott was making a charge. We barely saw any of it. Same thing with Schauffele. We never saw Ches Reavie barely. We never saw Chesson Hadley barely. Can we get a shot or 2 of those guys in there instead of all the commentary? I don't know.
Yeah, it's the directing team, and they're trying to build stories, and that's all great. But there's so many stories that happen in a golf tournament all over the place. That's part of what makes the Masters so great is the folks at CBS that have been doing that for such a long time. They give you a lot of golf to watch, and it makes the story even more exciting, I think, than watching, as you say, watching guys line up a putt for 8 minutes or watching a guy walk down the fairway and all of that. But
agreed.
I'm not a huge fan, but hey, we got to see some beautiful pictures from one of the most beautiful places on earth, didn't we?
No doubt about it. Yep, a great golf course. Ray, thanks so much.